You want to know something? This is probably one of the most interesting series because I actually did not know jack shit about. And it is thanks to my best friend, Lone Star Joker, that I was made aware of this series specifically. Hell, he put me the first episode, wanted to see my reaction, and my reaction is mostly what my first review was, is what the hell am I getting into? And it's actually quite funny because I got into what is essentially good anime. Good shit. And yeah, it's a long overdue video. It's something that I've been kind of contemplating how to approach, and I think I know how to approach it. How I usually approach most season reviews. But this one is warranted because season 2 is coming up, and I kind of want to slightly come back to what was season 1, what made its charms, why this was quite literally the highest of highs, and all the fun shenanigans. Because this series, when it's funny, it's funny. And when it's serious, it's serious. It balances its things. And it's funny when you have the supernatural and the sci-fi combining together to make what is essentially peak. But let us begin this fun journey back into what is essentially a fun anime. So, yeah, let us begin with this review. Oh, and please subscribe and leave a like and leave a comment to tell me what was your favorite moment? What did you thought of the season? And what are you looking forward to? Anyway, let's begin with the review now. For characters, we got like a bunch of stuff, so I'm just gonna focus on mainly our main ones. So let's start off with one of the favorite ones, that being Ken Takakura.
Name again and you're dead.
Okay, fine. Okarun. So, what do I think of Okarun? Dude had the biggest glow up in this entire season, and that's not even a joke. Like, yeah, the story is, obviously there's a lot to it, but dude went from a nerd that was just bullied, had no friends, and was quite literally hoping, in a sense, to try to hope that he gets the aliens' attention, into being a literal Giga Chad. And by that I mean, dude is quite literally winning over Momo Ayase, but also other female character, which we'll get to them in a bit. But Okarun's whole thing is definitely the occult. He definitely has a bunch of conspiracies and stuff. He doesn't believe in ghosts, and he gets proven wrong with Turbo Granny. And then once he gets like Turbo Granny's abilities, dude is quite literally just fun. Like, whenever he's in that mode, he becomes the Ken Takakura that obviously Momo just has a crazy infatuation towards. But that's more on her side. For Okarun's side, the thing with Okarun is just his self-doubt. He definitely doesn't like know how to handle having friends, having people that genuinely care for him, because this wasn't a love interest thing at first. Like, dude literally appreciate their friendship. It's just, it built into something a little more. But then eventually he meets Ira, which obviously she likes him. He doesn't really like her back. And then there's also meeting Grandma Psycho and that whole fun stuff. And then meeting Jin, which is like his first literal dude friend. And it is just so wholesome watching him like start to build up friends. Because he started the season friendless, and then by the end of it, like, he has Momo, Ayase, he has Ira, and then he has Jin. Like, well, they're having a little petty contest on who can win over Momo, but, and let's be real, like, the two are going to be friends. So, Okarun has quite the fun development, not to mention, like, dude actually is working hard to become physically stronger to handle, like, the powers of Turbo Granny, because this whole quest right now is that Turbo Granny possessed him. They found a way to kind of deal with her. He eventually kept her powers. However, the problem comes down to, during the bargaining, she dropped Okarun's balls. And literally, he only got his wiener back, and with no balls, which is such a sentence to say. But yeah, that's still basically the core purpose. Like, they're still dealing with the supernatural and the whole ghosts and aliens. But the main objective right now for Okarun, that will kind of bleed into season 2, is he got to get his balls back. Still, amazing fucking character. Momo Ayase. Honestly, I don't know anything of saying that she had some development or some flaws. Her thing is just she didn't believe in the occult. She obviously had her boyfriend issues at the very beginning. And it's just her basically helping Okarun like grow as well as helping him with his situation. But she is a badass. I want to make that clear. She will not take shit from anyone. She is no pushover. And she's pretty chill. Like, she legit looks like she's a chill gal. And yeah, I mean, she dislikes some of the things of her grandma as shown in the flashback stuff. However, when people make fun of her grandma for that is a separate issue. Like, she can be mad at her family, but she will not take shit from anyone else who says bad things about her family. And also, I mean, all the shenanigans that's between her and her grandma is super funny. I don't know. She's probably top tier in this series for sure, because I mean, her whole abilities are like a big counter to not only the aliens from the looks of it, but to the supernatural as well. So, I mean, what we saw in episode 1 was what she would be at full potential, essentially being a god. And right now, it's her building up to that point. And yeah, I mean, if anyone, she's probably the most important character so far, considering that without her, I mean, Okarun would have suffered greatly, not to mention that they both would probably be dead. So, yeah, I mean, top tier character. That's all I can really say. And a badass. Alright then, for Grandma Seiko. Now, I gotta say, this is one of the rare ones. Well, not really rare. You have the iconic old person who's a badass still. And in this case, I mean, instead of a male, it's a female. And a badass gilf, essentially. So, what can I say about Seiko, the grandma of Momo Ayase? Nothing really. She's already a badass on her own. Like, look, her introduction, amazing. Just shows that she can contend with someone like Turbo Granny, and especially considering Turbo Granny's abilities, I mean, it makes sense. She has some morals, because she could have killed Okarun, but she didn't. She's a bit strict with Ayase, Momo, but then again, she kind of puts herself in that position, so it's not really Seiko's fault that she's a bit harsh with Momo Ayase. Not to mention that Momo as a child did insult her craftsmanship, so there might be some little issues, but for the most part, she's just the main trainer for things. Whenever she does physically get involved, which isn't really a lot, she does prove that she can pretty much stand up to anything within a specific radius, because even then she's limited through her abilities, since she has some contract and things, and those are like, according to her, like, it's a specific radius of things, which is how they beat Turbo Granny. But that aside, she is pretty fun. She's a chill grandma, enjoys a specific type of TV show. She is basically down to earth and mostly just, yeah, chill. I mean, there are funny moments with her, considering that she's messing with Okarun and is trying to help him get, like, well, his stuff back. But other than that, I mean, top tier gilf character. Ira is honestly an interesting one, considering the fact that she is a rival to Momo, and more specifically in a lot of different senses. However, in the biggest sense, it's relation to Okarun, because a lot of it comes down to she's just a popular girl. She definitely did a bit of things towards Okarun's back, well, behind Okarun's back, and Momo didn't like that, so she basically slammed a giant tub, a giant thing on her head, essentially nearly knocking her out. But this is just to teach her a lesson, but also, funnily enough, she got one of Okarun's balls, which gave her the ability to see the supernatural and stuff, and it caused a funny complication in terms of things, because she thinks that Momo Ayase is a demon, and that Okarun at first is being controlled by said demon, before obviously revealing his, like, whole different side. But her most interesting one is that she goes from popular girl and antagonistic into essentially ally / a big rival for Momo Ayase. Unfortunately for Ira, Okarun's heart speaks for Momo Ayase. But I will say this. She definitely got close to kissing him. Though there is another side of Ira, and that's related to the acrobat Silky, which is a whole different thing. Because acrobat Silky was following her. The two kind of connected in an interesting way. While I'll get to acrobat Silky in a bit, in a different section. But for this one, I'll definitely say that whenever Ira, as well as Momo, saw the memories, like, you can tell Ira, like, was affected by it enough to want to hug this, Silky, and allow her to pass on to the next world. So instead of just dying and being forgotten, she definitely probably passed on and was able to meet her child that and then tragically got taken away. But outside of that, I will say that after this moment, you definitely have her obviously simping for Okarun. Anytime Okarun does something cool, she's obviously engaged with it. Jealous of whenever Momo Ayase is like around. She's pretty chill with Grandma Seiko, so that's kind of funny. And she gained the abilities of Acrobat Silky, so she's pretty interesting in her way of fighting. And yeah, I mean, she definitely had a moment to throw Momo under the bus during the whole thing where they kind of were shown, sort of, well, on Okarun's case, he was naked, but they showed Momo and Ira in their underwear. We can at the very least say that she was going to throw her under the bus, and yet, despite all of that, she understood that she was in the wrong, because that's not a good thing. And she basically took the blame for herself and lost her popularity status, but there was a change there. She's definitely not just a popular girl anymore because she lost her popularity, but she's definitely more wanting to lead, or definitely being bold enough to want to do stuff. So I will say it is nice of character progression. Although she still loves Okarun, I mean, it is sad because I feel like Ira, if she had her own love interest, it would work. But the fact that she chose to love Okarun is unfortunate considering where Okarun's heart is. But Ira definitely had one hell of a character development from essentially antagonistic and, well, you know, popular girl annoyance into something that is genuinely nice and entertaining to see. And a badass, too. She definitely has shown her own badass moments. So, yeah. Well, now we have Turbo Granny herself. Now, she is a unique character because we have two phases of her. Her as a villain, or more antagonist, and then her as a reluctant ally. Since the biggest thing with her is that she didn't really wanted to assist Okarun, Momo Ayase, and Seiko in the journey of helping Okarun find his family jewels. But there's a lot of reasons why that kind of happens, with the main one being that, well, her powers, which is what Okarun uses, sorta stuck into him. But this is all in the context of when she was possessing Okarun. Eventually, with Momo Ayase's help, Okarun was able to sorta be, like, find a way to use Turbo Granny's abilities. And eventually, through more things, we get to see how, like, antagonistic she is towards Seiko, and how the two grandmas are, I mean, they can sort of be able to contend with each other. The only problem is, so depending on whose location they're in, will have the massive advantage. But, I mean, Seiko will probably still kick her ass even then, but not the point. Point is that she definitely was very harsh with them, and very aggressive, if that's the best way to put it. And after her defeat, like, she was going to die. She only survived because she used the last of her power source, or, well, her essence, in order to be inside Okarun, in a way where she can't be detected. But just as they, like, figure out, like, first of all, Okarun's banana was taken away because she took it from him. And then eventually, now his jewels are gone. So whenever they were figuring out that there's that evil spirit, which is her, in there, she held on too tightly to Okarun's body. So it just knocked her conscience into the doll, into the little cat doll. And oh my god, is it super hilarious, because she thinks she is in charge. She thinks that, Okarun, go and kill these two bitches, because that's how you'll get your jewels. Which, I mean, let's be real, she probably was going to betray Okarun. And yet, whenever it is revealed that Okarun has her powers, she is not only dumbfounded along with the rest, but Seiko basically threatens her because she lost her cards. Like, she was just fucked at that point. And I just love it. Like, it is her panicking because she knows she's about to get the beatdown of a lifetime. And she does. Twice. She gets her ass handed to her multiple times there. She runs away, or well, tries to, gets caught, gets her ass beaten again. And from there, she's a reluctant ally, she tries to manipulate Okarun, trying to convince some kind of alliance. And even then, like, despite all those little shenanigans, like, she's pretty chill, unironically. Like, yeah, she helps here and there if it conveniences her. But, I mean, she can't lose Okarun. That would literally mean she lose her powers for good. So she can't really afford to lose Okarun. So that's the only person she'll really matter. And obviously if Momo Ayase dies, then Seiko's gonna blame her and she's not gonna get jack shit. Since Seiko's literally the only one that can, like, give her powers back, she is forced to have to work with them. And yeah, honestly, she is a slightly different character. Instead of, well, she's antagonistic, but most of her shenanigans are kind of oddly cute. And I can't help but laugh most of the time whenever it's her, because she's always doing something. She's always, like, getting super aggressive. Not in the way of a tsundere, but in the way of just leave me the hell alone kind of thing. Or you want to fight? Like, just aggressive, bad... I mean, it would be the bad boy stereotype. But in this case, I guess, very aggressive grandma type. So... she's still a fun character, let's be real, but oh my god, it's most of the shenanigans she gets into is kind of hilarious. Like, post being trapped in the doll kind of phase. Now, Acrobat Silky. For this character, I kind of have to take it a little more seriously. Like, yeah, her ability is a little kind of comedical, especially the fact that how she is beaten a lot of the times. But with her, there's a level of tragedy, considering that we do get her backstory, and her backstory is pretty sad. Unlike, like, how Turbo Granny, which I kind of forgot to mention this in her part, but she definitely was gathering, like, the spirits of girls that died tragically and wanted to put, like, their souls to rest. For Acrobat Silky, the biggest thing about her is that she lost her daughter in, like, we get to see, like, how good of a mother she was. I mean, she did questionable things, but it was all in the case to make sure to provide for her daughter and everything. Eventually something went, like, terribly wrong, and we get to see, like, one of the most brutalist scenes that kind of is a whiplash for something that has funny shenanigans, because this is, like, the most serious and most heart-wrenching moment, because they're literally taking her away from her, and she's taking so much damage that, I mean, she's on the verge of death at this point, and it is implied she jumped off a building. I think that's the best way to put it. And because, I mean, she lost her daughter to these crooks. And that's it. Like, there's no way she's going to find her again. So, it is depressing. Like, her backstory is so depressing. And her connection with Ira is, Ira somehow was able to see her, like, her spirit form, and communicate. And this sort of brought back her, like, motherly instincts of now she wants to protect Ira, which is where the connection comes in. So imagine when Ira, like, as a teenager, having kind of forgotten that moment, is able to see her. And they haven't spoken in obviously so many years, and she's been focused on protecting Ira. That would make her happy. Up until the fact that Ira is basically calling her a monster and stuff, which made her completely depressed. And it's kind of funny she blames Momo Ayase for, like, that. I think that's kind of just comedical. And basically saying, alright, if you act good, maybe I'll be your mother. Kind of just begrudgingly. But no, after, like, we get to see the whole, like, Ira is dead because she went into the spirit, and unlike with Okarun, who has, like, ghost powers, and then with Momo Ayase being, like, spiritually strong enough to not die being swallowed by Acrobat Silky, Ira didn't have any defenses, so she was fucked. And seeing that did tore her up, and she broke her jaw just to prove that I'm on your side. I am not going to do anything if it means we can save her. And yeah, she sacrifices her own, like, soul in order to power up Ira and make sure like her, I think the best way to put it was how they did with car batteries. Essentially using Acrobatic Silky's car battery and using all of that energy that it has to power up Ira's car battery, even though it would obviously cause Acrobat Silky to expire. I think that's the best way to put it. And since her soul was not at peace, she would be forgotten completely because this is it. This is the final death. And their connection and the backstory was enough to get Ira to hug her. And this was so wholesome that it felt like a genuine way of just trying to get her to be at peace. And that is the sad thing about this specific character, is that, yeah, she was an antagonist, but I just feel so bad for her. Like, after all the shit she went through. And it kind of makes it hard when you rewatch it and you're seeing them fight her. Like, it's a little hard to root for like the others when knowing the backstory, but despite that, I mean, there was still some goodness, which obviously is similar to Turbo Granny having some goodness. It's just she's been at it for a longer time, so a little bitter towards the world. But Acrobat Silky, I mean, oh my god, how do you write such a amazing antagonist that you can just sympathize by the end of it? Because she doesn't realistically is trying to kill them outright. They basically attack her first, and she's mostly focused on Ira. And then obviously she's in depression when Ira is just not exactly saying good things about her. And it's just a lot more of that. But yeah, a very, very tragic character indeed. Mr. Mantis Shrimp. Now for this one, like, he is like Turbo Granny, where he was an antagonist, more supporting antagonist than main antagonist, like it was for Turbo Granny. But he definitely was an antagonist of sorts. Though after that whole fiasco of the other aliens trying to take both Okarun and Ira, him fighting both of them, him losing, and not only that, but being absorbed with the other alien that are all working together. Like, despite all of that and still losing, like, he survived through all of those events and eventually became a support character after we kind of get him a little more on his whole race, how he's basically poor, he's only working with the evil races because they, like, pay more and stuff. Like, essentially a poor person trying to make ends meet for his family and having to do, well, shitty jobs. But after they gave him, like, milk, and this milk being essentially able to use for his son's, like, blood transfusion and all this and that, like, he definitely had a lot of appreciation for the main gang. And, I mean, there was that cool scene with the damn ship. So, he is, for now, a supportive character that I assume we'll see again. Like, I doubt that he's just gone forever after this. I feel like he's going to come back into the mix and assist Okarun and Momo Ayase in whatever shenanigans they get into. Because I almost feel like there's still a debt to be repaid. And since they saved his son's life with the cow milk and literally taking a cow in order to, like, do some blood transfusion, since their blood is similar to cows, essentially he has a debt that he needs to repay with his now founded friends. And it's pretty wholesome. It's genuinely wholesome. Alright, so now for Jin, the last character of this section. I will say, we obviously haven't concluded his thing in regards to the weird, creepy fuck that's completely possessing his house and causing him trouble, as well as his family. But with him, he is the opposite of Okarun. Like, the dude is an extrovert. He is kind of wacky, which is kind of funny. But he does become Okarun's first male friend. However, he also becomes his rival for Momo Ayase's heart. Because, unironically, he is the first crush of Momo. And that is big, because he has a lot of leeway, especially when these two knuckleheads are arguing about who has a higher chance of getting with Momo, which is funny, because Okarun's biggest leap is the accidental kiss between him and her. But outside of that, Jin is pretty chill. Like, the dude is just vibing, and it's kind of funny, because he is, like I said, the opposite of Okarun. Like, Okarun's nerdy. He's definitely, like, he'll speak with you with stuff in regards to his favorite things, though he seems like the quiet type. While Jin just seems like the wacky, fun, extrovert, loud type. It was pretty fun to hang around. Like, Okarun's also fun to hang around. Like, don't get me wrong in that. It's just, I think with Jin, like, he's definitely got a unique personality. And he has that mystery stuff that he wants to solve. So, if anything, he's not the leader, but he's like Fred if we were to give, from Scooby-Doo, if we were to pin him on who he could be. But outside of that, I definitely think that, well, Jin is... The story still hasn't concluded. They still have to deal with with whatever the fuck supernatural thing is after his family and stuff. But like I said, like, dude is just pretty chill with everyone. Though he's a ladies' man for sure. Because dude, with the ladies, I mean, he acts a specific way. But I mean, they seem to be fine with it. I mean, some of them. But Momo definitely seems to get along with Jin. And Jin definitely likes to talk about, like, the sci-fi stuff with Okarun. So, like, he can bond with anyone. That is my view. And I genuinely like Jin. Obviously, next season, we're going to conclude his stuff. But I genuinely think he would be a nice bro to probably play soccer and stuff. Like, that is my opinion on it. But I like Jin. To sum it up for at least these, obviously, main characters we get a lot of, outside of the aliens and stuff, it's definitely a 10 out of 10. Like, the creator really knew what he was doing, making them all so unique, so likable, and so kind of relatable in different ways. I mean, if you're relatable to Acrobat Silky, I really feel sympathetic towards you, but it definitely gives a lot of emotions out of what the characters are gonna get you. Like, sadness for Acrobat Silky, funniness from Turbo Granny, or from Seiko, which, I mean, she's funny. Momo, Ayase, and Okarun, I mean, their love shenanigans is, like, both wholesome and infuriating. It's just, these characters all together, no matter what, individually they have their 10 out of 10s, but this one altogether is like 100 out of 10. You just, I don't know. This is peak characters. If I were to gather characters, like, yeah. I mean, section 100 out of 10. Okay, so I would like to talk about, like, the battles and stuff. Because a lot of it is not very, like, you got 2 episodes that focus on, like, a specific fight. Like the Acrobat Silky one. And that one, I mean, Okarun's speed and all his abilities are not exactly doing much to help him against Acrobat Silky. And even Momo Ayase alone can't really take her on, so it works with the 2 of them together. There's the sumo alien / ghost or supernatural. And with that one, it was interesting seeing how Okarun with his, like, abilities can contend. But because his body's not used to it, I mean, he's limited to hell. Like, each fight, if I were to say, it's beautifully animated. Like, the animation is just beautiful. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. It is beautifully animated for whatever scene they want. And for the fights themselves, they are all so unique depending on the fight. And the way to beat some of their opponents is, like, very unique. That's what I really liked of this season. Is for sure, like, their solutions in defeating each opponent is so vastly different. It's intriguing. It's not just the same kind of thing where you just gotta brute force your way. I mean, some of them you do, but it has a lot of strategy involved, especially because we're early character strength. So that means that they're not going to be at peak form in order to, like, one-shot most of these on their own, essentially. But yeah, 10 out of 10. Fights are amazing. Okay, so I'd like to talk about the opening and the ending, because they're both pretty hype in their own ways, but for different reasons. The opening. Guess what that makes me think of? Like, the music type. And I guess the visuals to a degree. Mashal? Like, it makes me think of that musical and its visuals, and it's super funny. Because, I mean, gonna derail for a second. Me and my friends watched Mashal. We watched both seasons. We had a blast. So when I watched this, thanks to Lone Star, I found it super hilarious listening to that music, because it definitely had the same ring to it, and the visuals were just beautiful and just reminded me of Mashal, which I guess I gotta talk about Mashal at some point. But not the point. DanDaDan. Visually, amazing. Musically, it is very catchy as hell. As for the ending, it is so funny seeing Turbo Granny in the little cat, like, thing, and just kind of doing her own thing, and it's just kind of wholesome. It is It is genuinely wholesome and kind of one of the worthy endings to just put on repeat because, I mean, it's just wholesome and the music is pretty nice to hear. But the opening, damn, is that repeatable. Oh, the romance. All the dumb shenanigans with this. Look, I wanted to save it to this moment before we get to, like, the story stuff. Because the romance itself is so crazy. I don't know what to say other than the fact that it's entertaining, don't get me wrong. But, oh my god, is it slightly infuriating. Like, for example, Okarun and Momo Ayase. Like, they were just friends, they started like friends. And eventually they grew to love each other. But, oh my god, like, just get together kind of thing. Like, you're right there. And then when Ira gets into the picture, it turns into a giant mess because she, for some reason, reading her dad's adult books, because let's be real, that's what it is, assumes that a kiss is how to confess your feelings. And she is trying to actively kiss Okarun because she fell in love with him. And oh my god, that's so funny as hell. And then Jin being like Momo Ayase's first crush, and then Jin, or Gigi and Okarun, like those two are fighting over who gets Momo Ayase. It's super hilarious. And I don't know, it is entertaining. I think that's the best way to say all of this. It's super entertaining, it's funny, and it's infuriating. Because you damn well know Okarun and Momo Ayase are an endgame relationship. And Ira is like actively trying to work her way through Okarun's heart, and nothing is gonna work. That is just what it is. And I can feel bad for Ira, but my god, Lee, Momo, and Okarun deserve each other. Like, they definitely should be together. The story of DanDaDan is kind of hard. I could make it into sections, but it's almost kind of pointless because I'd be reiterating some things I spoke in the character section. So just to make it clear, Okarun loves the occult. He loves all of the sci-fi stuff. Momo Ayase, the supernatural. Both trying to prove the other that their stuff exists. Lo and behold, both actually exist. Which leads into shenanigans in order to first fix Okarun, because he's possessed by Turbo Granny, and he lost his banana. So, because of that, they have to kind of work together. He's trying to learn how to use the powers and stuff, as well as how to beat Turbo Granny in her own game. They managed to do that. And because of this, like, Turbo Granny hides within Okarun in order to survive, because she almost died in their big climactic fight. And even, well, not just that, but Okarun didn't realize until, like, later on, throughout, like, the next day, after all that happened, he lost his family jewels. And because of that, he now has a new goal. He has to find his balls. And with that in mind, Turbo Granny has them, or had them before she dropped them. And because she was, like, moved to the doll and all the fun shenanigans, it's eventually revealed that Okarun has her powers. So now she has to work with them in order to get her powers back. The bargaining is, she helps them find his balls, she gets her powers back. Obviously, she doesn't like this, but she has really no choice. Ira comes in, she acts very jerkish to Okarun. Well, you know, typical popular girl. Momo doesn't like that, slams a fucking wash tub on top of her. And she sees, like, her powers and stuff, which makes her think she's, like, a demon and shit. And all of this eventually culminates in acrobatic Silky coming into play. And, yeah, the fight eventually ends after acrobatic Silky accidentally killed Ira, because he wasn't really trying to kill her. It kind of results in her transferring all of her essence into Ira to make sure she lives, even though that basically means Silky's death. And after kind of getting her soul, more or less, redemption, or able to go into the afterlife in peace, Ira now has acrobatic Silky's powers, making her one of the more unique ones, because unlike with Okarun that he's borrowing Turbo Granny's powers by accident, Ira is now actively has her own thing, which is the acrobatic Silky form, which is unique now to her. and they eventually have to deal with aliens, the same aliens that harassed Momo Ayase at the first episode. Eventually, we meet our other friend, the boxer alien that I like to call, but Mr. Mantis Shrimp. And all of that eventually culminates into one of the most embarrassing things that got me demonetized and a yellow fucking symbol of $sign. Thanks, YouTube, for that. I had to go around. Well, I knew it was going to happen, but whatever. That's not going to happen for this video. But yeah, embarrassing moment that eventually forces Ira, because she could have blamed it all on Momo Ayase, and Momo Ayase's reputation would have just tanked even more. But Ira did the right thing and basically admitted that she was at fault and didn't allow Momo to get her reputation to be completely obliterated. But it obliterated Ira's popular girl reputation. So now she is now known as a liar and stuff. And yet, they have to deal with... Well, they deal with Mr. Mantis Shrimp and eventually help him out, which, now he's in debt with them. Then Gigi kind of comes into the play and kind of brings into another character related to love, which is what 100% inspires more Okarun to want to confess his love to Momo Ayase. But to sum it up to the very end, Gigi's family home is cursed. His parents kind of suffered not death, but they're not exactly doing well. And Gigi's staying with Seiko and with Momo Ayase. And being the first crush of Momo Ayase obviously causes some tension with Okarun, but they two kind of become pals before realizing that now they're rivals. And then they're pals again because they eventually find more secrets in the house, which is where the cliffhanger is. And for some reason, Momo Ayase ends up in another creepy-ass situation. So you start the season with something like a what the fuck moment, and then you end the season with another what the fuck moment. So, I'll give them credit for this. So yeah, that's basically the story summed up. And for me to say, damn, story is entertaining as hell. The highlight has to be Acrobatic Silky's backstory. Oh my god, that thing is tragic. I genuinely don't know what else to say. I've said it in her character section, but oh my god, it still hurts just even thinking about it. But yeah, I think the story is a 10 out of 10. Now, I will put the antagonist here because you really have 3 alien creeps, which they get their asses handed to them multiple times. Then you have the sumo alien / supernatural, which I kind of found it clever how they beat him. They almost beat him by getting, the whole sumo thing of falling into his back. But he cheats, so they found a way to kind of circumvent that. And managed to completely destroy him before the two died inside his... whatever the hell it is, his domain expansion, I guess. But, Momo Ayase and Okarun are pretty resilient. Then you have, the giant-ass lizard thing, and obviously the 3 aliens, like I said. Then the fusion of those two, one of the alien trio, the lizard thing, and then our boxer alien, which is Mr. Mantis Shrimp. And a mix of those 3 kind of makes an overpowered fucking monster. But, with the combined forces of Ira, Momo Ayase, and Okarun, they were able to completely dominate that fight. But they had to work together, mind you. And obviously, you, Acrobatic Silky or Turbo Granny, their little skirmish with them. And then we're now heading into these weird-ass, creepy men and whatever the hell is stalking Gigi, and oh my god, this thing looks genuinely creepy. What the fuck are you? Anyway, some of these antagonists are so unique. Yeah, we have some repeats, but honestly, it's fine. They don't just stand there, get their asses handed to them, or try to do weird shit. So, well, they tried to do weird shit now with Okarun rather than Momo Ayase, but other than that, the antagonists are all kind of unique in their own ways, even though antagonists turn protagonists. They have their uniqueness in how they were beaten and how they essentially function. So, honestly, 10 out of 10 antagonists. And now to honestly end this, long video off, I must say, DanDaDan just has kind of a lot going for it. I love the characters. The story is simplistic but complicated at the same time. And honestly... OST is fucking fire. The visuals are fire. All of the development is just amazing, and the way it left it off is intriguing because most animes don't usually leave it off in such a big ass cliffhanger. But the fact that they had the balls to do that because they know that this is going to be popular, or I assume they put all their faith in it. It reminds me exactly like Tokyo Revengers, how its first season ended on a damn cliffhanger, and one hell of a cliffhanger. So the fact that, by the way, Okarun's voice actor in the dub version, like the English, is the same one as Takamichi, which is super funny because this goes into the whole how they ended it in such a cliffhanger that it's like, I want more, and I think that was the point. And oh my gosh, I love this series. I think I gotta thank Lone Star Joker for it because he literally threw it at me, kind of curious how I would react, and I genuinely do not regret watching it. If anything, this is one of the rare ones I had no knowledge going in, so all of the surprises and everything, honestly, I was like dumbfounded. I did not know what the hell was going on, and I don't think I could even predict most of the shit. Even with the like post credit, like the what's gonna happen next episode kind of shit, like I couldn't really predict like only 10-20% at most, but not the whole thing. Like that's just, this show makes me laugh, makes me like depressed when it needs me depressed, and makes me excited, and I can't wait for season 2. I think season 2 is gonna be a banger, and I just can't wait.